Hey everyone, I think I'm finally live now. I don't even know. I've been live 9 times on this stupid computer and not one of them has gone live. We did a test and it was working just fine. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe someone else can troubleshoot this, but I don't, it's not even my computer, it's Cal's computer. So I cannot figure out why OBS will not connect to YouTube. Something is broken. I assume for the last 15 minutes that I've been live that no one saw any of that and that the test run we did somehow went live because I saw a comment pop up. So I don't know what's going on with that. Super frustrated right now, guys. Like, I'm gonna throw this camera and this computer, not my computer, so I can't throw it, but throw it across the room. We have no connection at all. Will not stream live through OBS. They've been disconnected somehow. I tried restarting it, I tried everything, and I was actually gonna be 15 minutes early. I was ready to go live at 6:45, and I couldn't get it to go live. Kyle is doing an improv class, and he is greatly missed today. Next time, I'm just gonna have my phone ready as a backup. I didn't have my phone ready at all. My battery's low. I've got to figure out how to get this little tiny charger plugged in while live, and I don't have a stand. So, fun times, guys. Fun times. Angie, how you doing? Basil 3 plexes, low pump. What's up, guys? Yeah, I don't know if like you've been getting notifications or not, or for the last like 10 minutes. I don't know what's been going on, but I am not prepared at all. I don't even know where, I can't even find the dongle to set up my phone. So, might have to set this phone down somewhere. This is what happens when you're fully prepared, everything's on, ready to go, and technical freaking failure. Houston, right on, right on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Wise Wall show right now. This technology. You guys can ask the questions if you want. I'm gonna try to figure out how to hook this up. I don't even know if you guys can't even see if my things are there or not. This is what happens when you become reliant on a technology. I'm used to having this work. I see it ready to go there. The visibility's on. I hit go live, it does nothing. Houston, we have a problem. 100% on my phone with low battery because I've been on my phone all day. I was not planning to go live from my phone. So good times, guys. Life and times. Let's see if I have the connector piece on here or not. Nah, I don't know where it is. I do not know, guys. I got clamps. Make a clamp work. A makeshift stand. I wish I knew where we haven't gone live from the phone in so long. I don't know where the dongle is for it. It attaches to the camera stand. Nope. Failure. I guess I'll just set it down and we'll do our best. Oh, the sound's probably bad because my microphone's not even plugged in. So first things first, let's try to plug in like this. You're here for the content anyway. Is that better? I plugged in a wireless mic. Let's see if that's any better. Shailen Paris is an Ivy student. Hey, right on. Question about being less frugal and delaying retirement. Similar definition to your certain things more while we're younger. All good questions. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this set up. Give me a sec here. I'm sorry, guys. Let's try and get this plugged in. Whoa. Full computer failure. What fun, eh? Okay. Is anyone still alive? Is anyone still watching? We're gonna have to do the weirdest. Whoa. Oh, this is the worst. I have no way to secure this. I don't have that tripod there. Has a little screw-on piece that attaches the phone to the tripod. I don't know where it is. It's been lost. And we are stranded, handheld, because I have to go live for the last 15 minutes. I thought I had it all live, thought I was good to go, but obviously Streamlab OBS version 0.12.3 will not go live. It's showing that it's live. I don't know what's going on. It shows that it's live. Do you guys see multiple streams live? Like, can you see that this is live right now, guys? I don't know. I do not know. I'm gonna have to just like I was gonna set the laptop down, set it against the laptop, or set it against the headphones. Or do you guys see 2 streams live right now, or just 1 stream? What are people seeing? I wonder if I could just hold it super steady. No, my hand's getting tired. Okay, so there's just 1. Looks like there's just 1. See how the regulars popping on here. Okay, what can we do? What can we makeshift? I've got the wireless handset attached to it. Normally I have that all there. There's against the laptop. That's terrible. This is terrible. I can do better than this. I wish I had a little screw-on piece for the tripod that holds the camera. But if I spend 20 minutes looking for it through all my stuff, then yeah. Oh, jeez. What if I can, ooh, I have an idea. I have this old baby chair. Let's see if we can use that. Let's get creative here. Come on, guys. Let's improvise while live. And by the way, I'm trying to stay plugged in so my battery doesn't die, because my battery's at like 10%. You guys ready? Oh, let's try this. What if I set it like that? Behind here like that. Use the headphones to hold it up. Wait, are we live? Hang on. Climb over the desk. Hey guys. Can you hear me? Is the first question. Is the microphone still hooked up? And if it dies, let me know. Make sure it's still hooked up here. Yes, it is still hooked up. Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Let's adjust this up a little bit. We've used an old IKEA baby chair to support the camera because we don't have the dongle that attaches to the tripod stand to hold the phone, because the camera and laptop connection have failed, and OBS is the worst software right now. I don't know what I've done wrong. I think I refreshed the browser and I lost the connection link and I couldn't get it back. I don't know. Tried restarting the program, tried everything, but this is what we're gonna have to deal with. Hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear. Let's go back to the live stream here. I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, I click on my phone to see your guys' questions pop up. Normally I have a nice laptop here and we got a good setup, but today, failure. Kyle is so missed. It just goes to show when you rely on someone for something, how weak you can get. I had a good filming session. I was done early. We filmed 2 videos coming out of a really good video on the poverty mindset. It actually got really deep into my childhood and how I grew up and some of the things that I had to go through. You guys can check that video out. It's like, we're gonna cut it down, but it was like 45 minutes. Super emotional for me. But yeah, you're gonna have to see that video about the poverty mindset and the wealthy mindset. So really gonna be interesting to see how you guys react to that video and to the change in mindset that I kind of had to go through. Okay, let's go on up here and get some of your questions, because they were good ones. First one was Shaylen. Okay, I just had a question about being less frugal and delaying retirement. Similar definition to yours, to enjoy things more while you're younger. Yeah, so I do believe that through frugality, you have 3, at the end of the day, you have 3 levers in your power, right? So lever number 1 is your spending. Lever number 2 is what you can earn. Lever number 3 is your returns. So basically, the returns are what you get in the difference between what you earn and what you spend. So basically, you earn, you ideally spend less than you earn. Some people spend more than they earn, which then they go into debt. And then the debt is compounded at a negative, basically a negative compounded rate because the debt is growing. Oh my God, production of your show just keeps improving. Came across great. Yeah, from my phone, my old phone. I have an iPhone 8 and I'm going for my 6 right now, so 6S right now. Everything that could have failed has failed, and I am alone. Usually I have D-Rock, I have Kyle, my main man here to help me out. So it's difficult, but good question. I want to talk about, the spending, right? So you've got your different spending levels. You're arguing that, and you're talking about the level of frugality being related to the level of enjoyment in life. And I think they're strongly tied. Spending does equate to some level of happiness, but beyond a certain basic needs level, I think the extra spending just costs you in life energy, because you have to trade the life energy for money. You have to basically trade your 20s, your 30s, your good years of your life working for someone else. When, if you subscribe to the FIRE movement, I'm 26 and I don't have to work ever another day in my life. So that's something that's been great because I was very frugal early on, right? I made the choices to be frugal early on. Obviously, Ivy, not the most frugal choice. That's okay. I also kind of made the same sort of thoughts and went through Ivy. And I will say this: the networking you get out of the Ivy program specifically is very good, especially later on in your career. I didn't value networking near as much. I was at home, literally like doing my renovations on my properties and things like that, when I should have been spending time networking and spending time with my cohort. I was focused on like literally working like a full-time job while going to Ivy, trying to build up this real estate stuff on the side. I was very outside of the Ivy bubble, and I sort of regret that a fair bit. So that'd be a bit of advice. I do think you can enjoy. You could do mini retirements. You could do like people do take 2 years off, for instance, right? You could work for a couple of years, save up enough to then have some passive income, get a couple rental properties or something like that. Have a couple thousand coming in, and then, I see these smiley faces coming up. Okay, I've been to Toronto, very clean place. People are so nice. Mike lives 2 hours away from me. It's so much more affordable. Very true. That said, in Toronto's defense, I know people that house hack in Toronto to live for free. It's you can do it. There are people who rent. I know someone in Toronto right now who's renting a 5-bedroom baller, massive, like $1.5 million house for like $2,400 a month, I think it is. $2,400 a month to rent a 5-bedroom awesome house in like Markham or something like that, suburb of Toronto. So yeah, I'm gonna get to those questions in a sec. I'm just catching up with what's going on down here. I saw some heated comments down there, so I wanted to kind of see what was going on. But you guys know that I know people in Vancouver and Toronto. You should almost always rent. It makes a lot more sense to rent because you can rent hack. So you rent a 5-bedroom house. You rent, if it's a little basement apartment, you rent that out. You rent the other bedrooms out, or something like that to keep your rent cost to near zero. So there are people who live in Toronto for zero. There are people who get a 3-bedroom apartment and put 2 rooms on Airbnb, right? And there's tenants. They're controlling $1 million asset for like $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. The mortgage payment alone is more than, in many cases, the mortgage payment at current market value is more than the rent. There are a lot of landlords who bought properties for $500,000 that are worth $1.5 million. They're mostly paid off. They're happy to get a couple grand a month in rent. There's so much rent arbitrage. You guys hear about retail arbitrage? The idea that you can go into like anywhere. You can go buy a house and then flip it to someone. You go into Walmart and buy something for $20 on sale, discount at Walmart, and then put it up on Amazon for $35, and people will buy it. Just retail arbitrage. I used to do it with Kijiji and Craigslist. Just buy stuff and retail arbitrage it. There's retail arbitrage in the rent market as well. Not so much in London. In London, I think it makes a bit more sense to own than it does to rent. The case is stronger for renting in Toronto and Vancouver and LA and New York, and especially in places like Hong Kong, where it's a stronger. If you can control $1 million asset, $1 million condo or house for a couple grand a month, that's amazing. You have all the power. You can choose to sublet that property out, do whatever you want. Just get it in your lease. And if you're in Canada, then the landlord can't do anything anyway. You can just sublet it. And especially if you live there, the landlord can't do a thing. So let's go up here and answer some of these questions. Okay. Gabe found it entertaining that I was struggling. Rude. No, it's all good, man. Yeah, I completely failed. Like, epic fail. Had no backup ready, and for like 15 minutes tried to fix it, and it was like, I give up. I'm just going to go on my phone and go live. Not ideal, but what are you going to do? Future Wiz, good to see you on. Gabe has a good YouTube channel. I like his channel. Like he's going through the journey of fire, and it's sort of interesting to check out some of the angles he's got there. Arwen, how you doing? I see one. Okay, so there's just one. Maybe the other one got taken off. Fingers crossed that it did. Um, can you set your phone on a book? We tried that and didn't work. Now we've got him this sort of kids IKEA table thing. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Catching up to where you guys are. Okay, there's the question. Yo, Mike, do you think I should invest in my own backyard? I live in Long Island, New York, and houses are very expensive here. Is it good for cash flow, or is Midwest better? Definitely better cash flow Midwest. That's just a fact. It is what it is. But there are some distinct advantages to investing in your own backyard. For one, I think you get the advantage of like location advantage. So you're there to physically check on the property. You can do a better job of managing the property. You can hire good managers and keep an eye on them. You can hire good sub trades and contractors and keep a good eye on them. If you see properties that come up for rent or from wholesalers, you're in that market. You have a slight edge because you live in the market. So there's always an edge to investing in the market that you live in, unless you have a partner that's in. So if you can find a partner, a joint venture partner, or a really good property manager partner that you could work together and split the equity in some way so that their interests are aligned to yours, I really recommend that. Then yeah, you can invest in the Midwest, in the U.S. Definitely some great cash flow. I've heard some crazy properties like $100,000 properties renting for $1,600 a month, and $80,000 properties renting for like 160 or 1,600 a month plus utilities as well. So some crazy 2% rule type properties. We don't get that here in London, Ontario, Canada. We got a 1% rule is basically where we're at, and that's just the idea that you get 1% of the value of the property back in rent each and every month. So if you've got a $200,000 property, you're getting $2,000 a month in rent. If you've got a $400,000 valued property in market value, you should be getting $4,000 a month in rent. If your property is worth $450,000, renting for $2,500, you should sell it. It just is not a good property to hold. It doesn't have good cash flow prospects. That's the basic fundamental that I invest. That's my strategy. I do invest for appreciation as well, but I focus on cash flow first. Eric, how you doing? Yeah, I got the Canada shirt on and the blazer. So I've been trying to rock. If you guys noticed, all my Saturday videos now, I wear this. Jeans, but I wear this blazer on the top. It says that I'm Canadian, and when you guys come out to OREC, the Ontario Real Estate Conference that Matt McKeever and Jeff Weibar are putting on, I'll be there 27th, 28th of April. Come find me. If you guys are going to the conference, come meet me, say hi. I'll probably be wearing this right here. I don't think I'm going to go in a suit. Last year I went in a suit. I don't like wearing a tie and all that kind of stuff. I think I'm going to cash out and wear something like this. I think the next 10X conference, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Wear the Canada shirt, and it'll sort of call attention. Why not? Dress a little different. I don't have anyone to really impress other than, all of our investors and everyone, but whatever. Okay, so your question was, is it good for cash flow? So the last part of your question was whether Long Island was good for cash flow. I'm not sure. The only way to really know, I'm an expert in the market, you'd have to go on and say, okay, what are market rents for duplexes, triplexes, student rentals, single families, all that kind of stuff, and then compare that with what are the prices of the properties. And so price to rent ratio determines if there's cash flow. At the end of the day, that's all it is, assuming interest rates are stable. So just kind of got to be careful and look at the type of properties. I saw a lot of scammers in turnkey. So yeah, when you're buying turnkey properties, just be careful. A lot of people will flip these properties and covered up problems, and they're just trying to dump the property onto the next person. You gotta be really cognizant and careful about that. I'm a big fan of buying my own properties and renovating them myself. But if you can buy from someone who's trusted, then there's less risk of that, like maybe a friend or a family member, or yeah, definitely a bit of a risk to buy turnkey. At the same time, turnkey is much better from a return on effort and return on time. And not all properties are bad. There are a lot of new builds that are totally fine, and a lot of properties that have been fixed up to code and are totally fine. You can get a good home inspection to find out if there's like bad electrical or plumbing. You can uncover most of that at the outset. And if it is, not found by the home inspector, in most cases, it's minor in nature, like a bad gluing joint on a PVC plumbing pipe or something, or a loose connection on a wire that was not found. That's an easy fix. Most of that stuff's a few $100. People get over emotionally, they use fear to dictate how they buy real estate, and that's a bad way to buy real estate. You shouldn't let emotion dictate any of your decisions, and specifically fear of the unknown. Most problems I've experienced, even major like leaking basements, I've been able to fix in a few, I don't know, a few $1,000s, fix almost everything. So have a bit of a budget and you'll be good to go. Thanks for the question. Okay. You've got to love IKEA. Yeah, I do. IKEA is great. Except for this couch. This sectional couch that I bought is the worst. It took us 6 hours to put it together and there was missing parts. I had to order them from IKEA. The worst experience with IKEA. But yeah. Other than that, I do like some of their furniture. It's simple, easy, and affordable. Okay. Oh my God, prof. So what are you saying? I look like a prof? I'll take that. I actually, people who don't know this about me, check out my Instagram, you can see in the stories, I actually did a case at the Richard Ivey School of Business, and I get to go in every semester for a couple of sections worth of class and do a part A, part B breakdown on the Roseharts. So there's an actual case at Ivey as part of the wealth management course where I expose parts of my financial plan, been distilled down to a smaller case, but parts of my financial plan and then the results of following a good financial plan. So that's kind of an interesting piece. It's been really fun to be a professor in some ways. And I guess on YouTube I get to be that sort of professor for you guys. So cool. Yeah, I love teaching. I love sharing. And it feels good. It feels good to help people. I feel I rely on my mom way too much. That's too good. I rely on Kyle for this Wise Wealth Show technology software that we're using. I could just learn it myself and then I wouldn't be dependent, but he's always here, so I just rely on him. That's bad on me. I should learn how to be more self-sufficient. Great question. Production of your show just keeps improving. You come across great. Oh, thank you, Susanna, I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, we're coming across on an iPhone, so unfortunately it's not going to be clearest today, but we do have the decent audio going, hopefully. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear and all is good. I've been to Toronto, very clean place. People are so nice. True. Come to London or come to a smaller town, you'll think people in Toronto are rude. I find in Toronto I'm getting cut off. People are giving me the finger. Here in London, I remember when I drive back from Toronto to London, because I'm often in Toronto checking out business opportunities and stuff and visiting friends. I'll be driving back, and as soon as I get into London or into like a smaller community, people are like, go ahead. You know, the guy slows down. He's like, pull in front of me. In Toronto, they're like smashing up beside me. I'm trying to like pull in lanes. So driving in Toronto, you feel what people are really like in Toronto, which is impatient, busy, and that leads to a bit of road rage and stuff. So, okay. Let's go up here. Where was I? I lost my spot. There it is. Hey, Mike, what are your thoughts on the housing market in Ottawa and Kingston? So, Arwen, I actually am relatively bullish on Ottawa. I like Ottawa as a city. Every time I go there, it feels great. They have a lot of heritage, a lot of history. It's the capital, so there's a lot of jobs and government stuff from an employment standpoint. It's pretty diverse. There's a lot of university, education, healthcare, a lot of government jobs and things like that as well. So the economy, from what I understand, is relatively diverse in Ottawa. And the price point isn't quite like Toronto. It has a lot of upside still. So I do think Ottawa has a long-term, a lot of gains, a lot of opportunity. I'm very bullish on Ottawa. I like it more than I like Toronto. I like it more than I like Vancouver for sure. So Ottawa's pretty good. Okay, let's go up here and see. Or did I lose that? Okay, I found my spot again, guys. People laughing, telling jokes. Yeah, Ivy puts us in a good position to earn well, though, and the network. You did just fine, though, without the Ivy bubble. This is true. This is true. Most of my connections have been outside of Ivy, except for one classmate who's my business partner on railway management. So that kind of worked out. I guess it paid off for me. My first million, it didn't help at all, but after that, it helped quite a bit. So definitely, there's some value there. Mike's wife watches this chat room. My girlfriend watches the replay. You're gonna get us in trouble. Okay. We've met him before, also OREC. Yeah, so we'll see at OREC for sure, 100%. Dat Cow, nice name. Hey Mike, I'm I'm 17 in Australia, and I've been strongly building my financial intelligence up. I'm thoroughly invested in reaching financial independence. Next year, I will own a house. Yes. Um, More likely than not, I think releveraging makes a lot of sense, especially if you can create some equity. So if you can buy this property and put some sweat equity in, improve it in some way, maybe put better tenants in, maybe renovate it to a certain standard, add bedrooms, bathrooms, that sort of thing, and you can add more value than the money you've put into it. So say you put in $30,000 in effort, in money, and then a bit of effort, and it appraises for $70,000 higher, then you recoup your whole $30,000 renovation plus $40,000 in extra equity. You could refinance out and then buy another property. So I'm a big fan of leveraging, especially if you can get cheap debt. So if you can go borrow at 3-4%, then that feels really good. To go to a hard money lender and borrow at like 12%, that's quite expensive. I'm not a huge fan of releveraging in that sense. Unless you had a really good screaming opportunity to invest in, like maybe another house fell in your lap, 50 cents on the dollar, then it would make sense to releverage and use that capital as such. Okay, go back up. Every time someone chats, it goes down to the bottom, so I have to scroll up. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Tyler says, hey Mike, what are your thoughts on investing in turnkey properties? I'm a new investor and I'm trying to decide where my money, invest my money with my FIRE goal. What are your thoughts? Thanks. Tyler, great question. I actually like turnkey properties from a return on time, return on effort perspective. So I can really understand and appreciate that someone who's working in Toronto or Vancouver or has a busy job wherever they live, wherever they work, they don't have time to be having landlord calls, to be having to renovate the property after work, all of the stress associated with getting a property up to a stabilization point. I like to buy properties that tenant and I've got everything fixed up in the house. As long as I do my job, there's almost no calls. Like literally I got a call once every month, 2 months. So once you have a stable tenant in there, it's when the tenants change over, there's a lot of work to refresh the unit and that. That's where the work is mostly associated. There's not as much work with a good tenant in the beginning. If you have bad tenants, then of course you're going to have calls all the time. They're going to bring you in their drama. These people who are on government welfare are the worst because they have nothing to do all day and they've got a lot of drama in their life. So they drag you into their problems. That's just been my personal experience that I found. I kind of grew up in that sort of environment, so I can personally attest to the struggles that they go through. It is tough. It's a roller coaster. There's people who are impoverished. But yeah, overall, I think that Tyler, turnkey properties can be great. You've got to be careful what you're buying. So make sure you get a home inspection. Some turnkey properties are just great. Like the landlords had them for 25 years. They've kept them up. When you say turnkey, they might not necessarily be a flip. They're just well-maintained properties. That's a turnkey property. A property is turnkey by definition if you walk into the property and you don't have to do anything. The tenants are already, good tenants are placed. The place is renovated nicely. It's in a good, everything is good about the property. That's a turnkey property. There is no value add in most turnkey properties. There are sometimes, I bought turnkey properties that had opportunities to raise the rents, so that's a value add technically, but ideally a turnkey property is one where you put in no effort or time. From day one, you buy the property and you get a lesser return than you would if you put the energy and time in, but your return on time, the amount of hours you have to put into that property, the amount of mind share to spend on that property is way less. So you get a way higher return on time than you saying a flip property or distressed property. So I do like turnkey properties. I have bought a turnkey property before. It's not like I haven't never bought one before. I mostly focus on the distressed. I like to add value. That's my angle. But there's nothing wrong with the turnkey. I know people who have bought turnkey in this boom of a market we've had that have done very, very well. They've had huge appreciation on their properties and they didn't do a thing. He's like, literally, I bought the property, tenant stayed there 3 years, paid the rent on time, never called me. That's an ideal turnkey property where nothing went wrong. It happens, and you don't have to do any work, and the return on your time and effort and energy is great. And with leverage, if you buy 20% down, 80% bank money, you're levered 5 to 1. Even if your turnkey property is producing, say, 6% return on asset instead of 10%, when you lever it 5 to 1, you go from 6 to 30% or 25% ROI. So on your down payment, you're making 25%. That's a good return on your money for no effort. Very comparable if you had a property manager in place on a turnkey property, very comparable to investing in public equities. So when people invest with me, that's basically what they're doing in my investment branch of Right Way Management. Basically, they want me to do everything and it performs like a hedge fund would in the sense that they don't have to put any effort, any time in, just invest the capital and get a return on that capital. So that's sort of, yeah. Okay, I gotta go up and catch up on this stuff. A lot of scammers in turnkey, some scammers in turnkey. I think that's a bit of a pessimistic view. Probably 1 in 10 are really trying to hide something or like negligent and honestly bad. Yeah, I'm gonna be at OREC. See you guys at OREC. Hong Kong Fooey says, did you get my realtor link or did it get caught as spam? I didn't get anything. Whatever link you sent, I didn't see it, unfortunately. Maybe it's because I'm on my mobile, and normally when I'm on my computer, it comes up in a big chat window, so it could be that. Maybe someone else saw it and could relink it. Tyler, see you guys chatting there. Future Wiz says, one day I'll go to ORAC, just don't have much to offer, being a broke college nig. Hopefully, once I graduate and get the IT job, I can actually use Wisdom Mic and get those real estate gains. Yeah, so it is true. Well, you might have nothing to offer. You could still learn something. I think probably, well, so I didn't go to any conferences when I was in school for real estate course in my life. It's the truth. Other than the real estate, I'm a realtor, so the realtor courses I paid for, but I haven't paid for anything that wasn't mandatory. I learned everything online, and if I make a course, it's gonna just be basically a faster way to learn what's already out there. You watch all my Wise Wealth shows. We're like 50 episodes now, so there's 50 to 100 hours of content, a couple hundred hours on YouTube. And from my channel, several hundred hours from other YouTubers who talk about the same things. So you could learn it all for free online. Go to like places like Bigger Pockets and talk to people and ask targeted questions and learn everything. I do believe networking is valuable, hugely valuable. So if you get to go to networking events, go to the free ones to start. And then, you know, you never know who you might meet. If you have a lot of energy, someone like my mentees, one of them comes to me and says, hey Mike, I want to buy a property with you. Let's JV it. I'll do all the work. Will you cut me in? Yes, I will. Yeah, I will. That's something that most wealthy people don't value money near as much as they do their time. And so you have a lot of time. So go out there and say, when you go to a networking event, like say OREC's relatively expensive, but you go to a free one and say, hey, and there's no downside, right? You just spend time at that networking event and say, hey, you know, I have a lot of time to offer. I have a lot of energy. I'm eager to learn. I'm ambitious. I don't have the experience. Maybe I don't have the money, but I'm willing to learn. And would you, be willing to let me mentor under you? Just help out. And that's how you get trust, because they're not just going to partner with you right away. No one at OREC or any conference that you meet is going to say, this young, hungry college student, I'm going to go partner with him. Unproven. Let's do it. No, you got to spend time each and every week. My mentees live with me and spend a lot of time. And so I developed trust with them. We have a bond. So I could then, trust that they're going to be able to take care of my property. You got the same thing with the wealthy investor you want to partner with. You got to build trust. Okay. Duncan Abroad Films says, what occupations or careers would you recommend for someone wanting to follow the FIRE movement? Higher pay, flexibility, demand for work. There are a lot of really great jobs, and it depends on the sector, the market you live in. In my market, specifically, anything in business does very well. Anything in tech does really, really well, like programming, coding, tech consulting. Oddly, in my market, things like manufacturing and the trades. Like if you're in plumbing, electrical, HVAC, all of those skilled trades, they do really, really well in my market. Like there's a lot of trades guys who can work whenever you want. You could work as a carpenter or whatever, pick up jobs from landlords and stuff like that whenever you want. 25, 30 bucks an hour very easily. So you could work a 10-hour a day, make 300 bucks, and then not work the next day if you don't want to. Pick up the projects that you want to work. I have a friend, Tom, who he works like 6 months on, 6 months off, basically. And so he'll work and make his 50 grand in 6 months, and then take time off, and maybe he'll buy another property with that money he's earned, and then take time off again. So it's a slow journey to FIRE, and you can enjoy what you're doing if you enjoy working with your hands or building things and seeing the end vision of whatever you're doing being finished. Accounting's a good one too. Real estate's a great career to like an agent or broker, working for commercial brokerage. All that stuff is transferable skill to getting to FIRE faster. So there's tons of great jobs though. Do what you love though. At the end of the day, chase your passion. You shouldn't go into a career and doing something you don't love. I made that mistake, went into a career I didn't enjoy. Accounting wasn't for me. Working in consulting was not for me. I worked as an analyst, senior analyst, and a manager of a small team at an IT consulting group, and honestly, it wasn't the smartest thing for me because I didn't really have passion for it. I wish I would have went into something that I had passion for on day one. You could use the job though to get the mortgages, and I get that, and you suffer through like I did for a few years. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Lost my spot again. Matthew McClure, why were you streaming earlier and then stopped? Yeah, so we had a technical glitch. We were just testing the camera before, and then it just died. I'm not sure what happened. Um, I was just doing a test run, and we put it on private, sent it off, and then it uploaded as public after. I don't know why it did that. Stupid YouTube had, there's a setting on it where after we test it, I guess it goes public anyway, and the replay goes public. So I don't know why that's still there. I thought I deleted it, but I don't know. It might still be live out there. And then when I deleted the video, so what happens is I upload the video, it was radio live at 6:45, and I delete it, and then it crashes the whole thing, and the OBS software is unsynced from my YouTube account. So I don't know what's going on with that, but now I can't, all the templates are gone. Usually I have like pre-filled in descriptions and thumbnail and all that. It's all gone. So I don't know what's going on. We have to upload it all. I think I accidentally deleted it, trying to get that botch video down. I deleted more than just that by accident, I guess. Or when I deleted that live video, it screwed everything up. So good night, Mike, and everyone in the chat. Take care. Good night? Who's going to bed? It's like the sun's still out, shining. You must work nights or something. Okay, let's go up here and catch up where I was at. So Duncan's talking about careers. You want to pick something that's, again, something that's got transferable skills. Ideally something you enjoy, and higher pay is obviously better. Flexibility is better. Mastery, autonomy, and purpose. You want something you have mastery over, something that you're good at and you enjoy. Purpose is like you find meaning in that, whatever you're doing. And then autonomy is so important, being able to choose when you work and how you work. So being able to have those flex hours to work from home and stuff like that. Those types of online jobs where you work from your computer, they tend to have the biggest advantage. And a lot of corporate Canada and corporate America is moving in that direction, where people are working from home more and more. So extremely bullish on those types of fields. Shaylin says, you come into the wealth management course. I didn't bid on that elective because I felt fairly confident with my personal finance knowledge. Mistakes were made. Shaylin, I actually know a couple of people I met that went and sat in on the class. So if you email Chuck Grace for when you're getting close to that class, you could probably just sit in on that class just for the day and they won't mind. So there you go. There's an option. I'm curious how you found my channel, because I don't think many Ivy kids know about my channel existing. I love that you have an interest in knowledge and personal finance. That's great to see on there. It sounds like you're like myself in a lot of ways. I was obsessed with all things personal finance when I was, in Ivy and that. And most kids aren't. Like even in the wealth management class, there's a lot of really smart iBanking kids who are going to go make $100,000 a year, and they don't respect or understand the basics of personal finance. So it's crazy. A lot of them don't understand TFSAs and RSPs, that they can go work and run a hedge fund and do private equity research or whatever they're doing, trading. Future whiz, you're ahead of the game. Most people like me get the education, the job, and after a decade, damn, something is wrong, then we go after more education. Yeah, good points. Good points. Tyler says at Matt McClure, look into the trades. Power technician is 2 years of college and pays over 6 figures. Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of trades jobs that are fantastic. I didn't have the 25% down payment, Crypto Cheese says. Would using a line of credit be worth it to fund the down payment? I think so. Yeah, I do definitely think that using so you won't qualify for financing doing this. Like the bank will never let you use an unsecured line of credit to qualify. They'll let you use a home equity line of credit or your RSP or stuff like that to qualify for your down payments, but they won't use unsecured line of credit to qualify for down payment. So if you can show the down payment somehow, get approved, and then on the day of the close, don't use your actual cash, use the bank's unsecured line of credit for your down payment. That's totally fine. I've done that. That's fair game, and I would recommend that. I squeezed out an extra property or two before I quit, doing exactly that. I'm in Atlantic, Canada. I'm looking for a deal with cash-on-cash return of 30% or greater, I think is what you're asking. Looks like less than 30%, but I think you mean 30% or greater. They're difficult to find as a guarantee. Like if you take appreciation out of the spectrum, take that rate out of the game, and just look at cash flow, 30% is tough. 25% is like pretty safe. I think that, well, I guess it depends on your market. In Atlantic Canada, there are areas where, and even in Ontario, there are areas, if you're not investing in major metropolitan areas, where you get 35-40% return on your money from rental income alone. You just don't have that appreciation upside arbitrage opportunity. So yeah, definitely possible. And so if you borrowed basically your money at like 5, 6, 7% and got 25% return on your down payment, you get like a 20% spread. It's fantastic. Big fan of that. Use the debt to your advantage. Future Wiz says, hope I can pull a Mike and retire in 5 years. Mike has crazy work ethic though. There's no reason you can't have the same work ethic that I do. Just gotta find it within yourself and pull from it. Lately I've been, now that I'm, FIRE or whatever, multi-millionaire, I don't need to work anymore. Like I literally could just take my net worth and invest in a flipper. There are flippers that will pay 12, 15% pretty safely and invest your money in real estate and just get like a 15% return. And on every million, that's 150 grand. Like a couple $1 million is 300 grand right there. It's hard to spend 300 grand when you're as frugal as I am. So I don't need to work at all, and it makes it really hard. I've been stuck on been watching Cobra Kai at night, been watching Game of Thrones. My favorite show right now is Billions. That show gets me pumped up. I finished the episode of Billions, and I'm like, all right, let's get down to some strategy. I got to do some consulting with mentees. We get downstairs and we come up with some game plans to redevelop the company. And when the questions all run out, if they all run out, I'll talk to you guys about how I want to redevelop some of the things we're doing it right way. And I want to just run it by you guys and get some open dialogue and feedback about how I could reverse our model. Okay. There we go. I found my spot. Okay. He has approximately half the down payment. Okay, so that makes it kind of tricky for financing, unless you can get money from someone and get a gifting letter, borrow the money from someone and then get your parents to write you a gift letter. Something to that effect could work to get you the financing approved, and then just use your line of credit to close. All good points here. Do you have self-employment taxes in Canada? If so, how do you reduce your tax obligation when you file your business taxes? Thank you. So D's information, there is a small business, so the corporation itself earns income and is taxed. In Canada, there's a small business deduction, so that small business tax on income less than 500,000 is 13.5%. Super low tax rate, so there's no real advantage to having the income personally if you can store it in a small business corp. To qualify as small business, you need to have greater than 5 full-time equivalent employees if you're investing in real estate, or be an active management company. You can't actually hold the real estate. So that's sort of how you get around it, by owning. If you own a company that just owns rental properties and that's all the company does, they have less than 5 full-time employees, you'll be taxed at Trudeau put out new guidance that you're taxed at 50%, and then you dividend yourself and you get a tax credit as such. So you wouldn't pay much tax at all. But on the 13.5%, you dividend yourself, and theoretically, if you didn't have any personal income, you could just take that income and get it at 13.5%. You can pay into CPP, EI, Canada Pension Plan, unemployment insurance as a self-employed entrepreneur or small business owner, but you have to pay your own premiums plus company premiums. And so it ends up costing you 20% of your salary to those fees. So I just opt out of that. I have no EI to protect myself. I have no CPP. I'm not paying into those things. So you can opt out of those as an entrepreneur and just pay the 13.5% business tax until you get over 500,000 in income, which again, you should just create write-offs to stay under the 500,000. But let's just say you did get over the 500,000, then you have, I think it's 22% or 26% corporate tax. And so that's the nature of making money. You gotta pay some tax. Okay, where am I here? Future Wiz, he has a video on how to do it in 3 years. He has a crazy work ethic though. Yeah, true. Those are not untrue points. No, as per RBC. No, not true. Go to a mobile specialist, go to a mobile broker. I'm with Scotiabank, getting 20% down. TD is still doing it. RBC is still doing it at 20% down. You get the wrong person you're working with. You're working with someone who's a specialist at a branch. You just got the wrong person. They will do them at 20% down. You can say that you're going to live in the rental property as well and move every year, and then change your mind on closing day or day after. Move in for a day and move out. That's a strategy I know people I've used saying I was going to live in a property to get 20% down. I know people who did it with 5% down. I don't like the 5% down strategy. CMHC is way too expensive for financing. Okay, let's go up here, and there's so many questions. I got a power cycle. Mike, how much more costly are commercial loans than residential? Any advice for first commercial loan? So William, great question. Commercial loans are approximately 1% more expensive from an interest rate perspective than residential. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. It just depends on what your return on asset is going to be, and compare that to your cost of debt, right? So if you're borrowing at 6% on an asset that's going to generate 12%, you still have a good spread. That's okay. It's just that most real estate I've found in Ontario, around, in my areas, tends to have like an 8 to 10 cap rate, 6 to 10 cap rate actually, I would say. So if your cap rate is 6, like in Toronto or Vancouver, it's like a cap rate of 3. And there's New York and LA. LA's got cap rates 4 and 5. If you have a 4 or 5 cap rate, which means that's your net operating income on the property divided by the price of the property, so your return on the total property is like 4 or 5%. You're borrowing at 4 or 5%. There's no spread, so that isn't really attractive at all. Commercial loans are easier to obtain. The property itself qualifies for the lending. So once you max out on your residential side, when you max out on your personal residential mortgages, and you don't have, let's say you're fired, and you don't have a good job, or you're self-employed and you can't get financing, you can go buy an apartment building more likely than not and get financing, because they don't look at your personal income near as much as they do the actual building itself. So that's an advantage of commercials. They're easier to obtain, especially with a bit of a net worth but not enough income to qualify, and you're buying an asset that's strong and solid. They're really good cash flowing commercial property or business. I'm in the process right now of buying a really cool business. I want to show that, but I've signed NDAs that I can't talk about it until we close on it. So it's a pretty big business, a lot of opportunity, a lot of upside. Really excited. We're going to get financing for probably 70% of the cost of the business. We're going to buy it for several $1 million, me and 2 friends. So we're going to buy this business and transform it, then 10x revenue, and maybe flip it or bring some investors in or refinance. But it's really cool to get into the flipping of businesses. I'm really excited about buying the cash flow, the perpetual cash flow of these businesses, and the opportunity for upside. Very similar to real estate, and because we have a really good, we put together a really lending package, I think we have a really good shot of getting relatively affordable business financing. Business financing and commercial financing, not for real estate, just for buying businesses, is typically between it depends how qualified you are. If you have a lot of net worth and a lot of wealth, and you can borrow like 3-4%. I'm looking to borrow at 5 or 6%. It's our first business, so 6% would be great. I'd be happy at that. When I have a business that's generating 30%, so my business is generating 20-30% return on my capital, then 6% is a great spread. That's okay. I'm feeling really good about that. But if I had to, a business that wasn't generating a ton of cash, then I'd be very nervous about borrowing at 6, 7, 8% to buy this business. So once you get one business, it gets easier and easier. Once you get a couple properties, it does get easier. Very true. Okay. I'm going to have to give it a rewatch sometime. Yeah, check those videos out. There's 2 videos on that. How to buy 10 properties in 3 years, I think. And the other one's the Rosehart real estate snowball. It's basically the burr, but I'm taking the burr and saying you can do 10 burrs in a row really quick, following a frugal approach. So it's basically taking the burr idea and doing like 10 of them really quick. What are the typical costs if you get a deal from a wholesaler, Justin? So Justin's good question. Depends on the wholesale deal. What I'm finding is that there used to be like bird doggers and wholesalers. Bird dogger would say, here's a deal, Mike, here's their number, go close on it yourself. I've just kind of lined it up for you. I know they're gonna sell. If you close on it, pay me like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, something like that. Sometimes even $500 for just like a number of someone who's willing to sell privately. Then there's wholesalers who go into the property, do the exact same thing as the bird dogger, but don't give the number out. They lock it up under contract and they assign that contract to someone for a fee. So they go buy a property worth $250, lock it up under contract for $220, and say, hey, I got a contract, Mike, for a property that's worth $200,000. I'm going to sell it to you for $220. So I'll take a $20,000 wholesale fee. I've seen that. A lot of wholesalers are greedy. They're doing like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 wholesale fees. I've seen one for $50,000. It was crazy. This house was under market value, but they were basically selling it at market value. They're marketing it to like 200 investors and acting just like a real estate agent. Basically, I would say they're on the line of trading in real estate, which is against the law. You can't actually trade in real estate. The assignment of a contract, you have to be very careful. You can't modify the contract for the investor, and certain things you can't do, or it becomes trading in real estate. RICO will be up your ass real quick. So as a wholesaler, you gotta be very careful because you're acting like a real estate agent that doesn't have the best interest of the client at heart. So you're basically a bad real estate agent, right? But they can be really good, especially the good wholesalers who are like, you know what, I'm just about volume. I'll just like a 5K wholesale fee. Most of my wholesale deals that I'm doing are like in the 5 to 10K range. My wholesalers don't got me. They are pretty fair because they know I'm doing volume with them. So they're bringing me a lot of deals. in return, maybe I'll give them like 100 grand in wholesale fees over the whole year. 10,000 a deal or something, or 5,000 for a lesser deal, 10,000 for a smoking deal. But I want them to leave some meat on the bone. Wholesalers are getting greedy, especially in this market, because deals are so coveted here in London area that it's so hard to find properties. There's so many multiple offer situations. There's just a shortage of inventory. So when they have inventory, they have everything. And so they know their inventory is valuable, and they're gutting the investor. They know the properties would go for 250 on the open market, and they'll wholesale it for 240. That's not really a good wholesale deal. You gotta be very careful. There's a lot of wholesalers who are selling properties at market value, and investors don't know. They think because it's a private deal, therefore it's a good deal. They think because it's a wholesale deal, therefore it's automatically a good deal. No. There have been tons of wholesale deals as of the last 6 months that have been terrible, sliding across my desk, and I'm like, no, this deal's bad, this deal's bad, this deal's bad. And then you find some good ones too, there's a mix. Good question though, got me on a good tangent, I like that. Okay, there I am. Hat Factory says, I could never work from home. I would probably end up beating off to porn and playing video games all day. No work would get done. Man. Gotta have that self-control. You gotta get raw. Yeah, I can't click on that link. There's no way, unfortunately. Hey Mike, 2 more questions. I have a large pool in my backyard that I'm looking to cover up and turn into a flat and rent out, since there will be a uni opening near me soon. Also, what are your thoughts on Forex? I'm not a Forex trader. I have no interest in that at all. That's too high risk for me. I don't have the competitive edge. There's too many people, I think, in that market arbitraging it that there isn't the opportunity. The more people that get into an opportunity that arbitrage it, they make the margins super slim. So to be a successful Forex trader, you have to have some sort of competitive advantage, and you have to have, in my opinion, a lot of capital, a lot of volume of trades. And it's extremely risky. I like to bet on things where I have never lost money in real estate. Even if prices were to go down on the houses that I own, I would still be making $1,000 a property. So there's so much cash flow that I don't care. My money's returned to me in 3 years, regardless. Get your whole down payment back in 3 years, regardless of, or 4 years, worst case scenario, regardless of what the market does. Regardless of if you bought a good deal or not, buy for cash flow first, protects you. Good question though. Do you think it's worth to fill in your pool? Pools can add value and not add value. Depends on the house, depends on the area. Some families value it, some families don't. Kind of depends. I don't know how filling the pool and making a flat will work. You must get permits and stuff to build, and if you can do all that and the cost of building is less than the value it's going to add to your property, and you're going to get a good amount of rent from it, that's probably worth it. If you could build for like $90,000 all in everything, and you're going to get $1,000 a month in rent, that's a good return on investment. It's going to cost you 200 grand to build, and you're going to get $1,000 a month in rent. That's like a 5 cap. So depending on what area and where you own your property, it might not make sense. In Vancouver and Toronto, probably makes sense. In the bigger markets, it might make sense. In the smaller markets like London, I would definitely not do that at all. Shaylin says, yeah, I had a similar story start to you. I made a lot of money through competitive gaming, invested in RESP for easy 20% grants, and then made tons through value investing. The character limit is killing me. Cool. Yeah, definitely send me a link on Instagram, because you're an Ivy alumni. I'd love to be able to add some value, help you out. It's a struggle at Ivy. I know having that personal finance knowledge and that appreciation for fire, it's so hard to fit in when a lot of the people that I knew had really wealthy parents, and they didn't really appreciate, like a lot of them are tipping like 50% at like sushi. I'm like, you guys, this is like, your parents have so much money, you can't really appreciate the value of a dollar. And so these guys are coming from a different mindset. So if you need some of that support, feel free to reach out. I love that, the investing in the RESP for easy 20% grants. I did the exact same thing. When I was 17 years old, I opened my own RESP, and I threw in all of my Tim Hortons income when I was in high school, and got 20% guaranteed rate from that. So I was like, easy money. Same thing, huge respect to that. And so well done. I was also a competitive gamer. Didn't make any money from it really. Maybe if I had a pair of tits, I could have done Twitch. I don't think Twitch wasn't the thing back when I was gaming really, as much as it is now. But I actually played League of Legends. I've been back at it again. One of the mentees got me down there playing League of Legends, so I've been having some fun with Nasus and Trundle on top lane League of Legends, which is bad for business, but good for my overall fun level. I have a lot more fun as of late with the mentees living in the basement and doing the entrepreneurial MBA. Oh, okay. Snake Eyes 11 says it's a link to a Windsor deal. Colton says, I have 3 properties earning $2,000 a month and cash flow average spending is $20,000 a year. When should I retire? Colton, good question. There's probably more to it than this. You get $2,000 a month coming in and you're not spending $2,000 a month. You're spending, looks like a little bit less than that, like $1,800 a month. Means a bit of margin. I think with rental properties, it's a little less safe than say dividend income, right? Where you're collecting that 4% rule. With 3 properties giving you $2,000, you probably want to have, I would say, some resiliency for maybe bad debt, as in bad debt expenses when a tenant doesn't pay you. Maybe having some vacancy expense set aside. So if you have a month or 2 that are vacant, you're okay, because that can happen. Unit gets trashed, having some money set aside. So if you have a decent emergency fund set aside, then it would make sense to retire. I personally, with rental income, my rule is 2 to 3 times what you need to live to be like completely safe. You know, you never have to go back to work. Worst case scenario, Colton, if you hate your job, you feel like you want to make a run out of it, 3 properties, you can make a run out of it. You'd probably be all right. You'd probably spend the extra time you have building networks and connections and maybe pick up a side hustle that brings in a little money to support yourself. Also, the question is, are you going to be increasing your lifestyle? Do you want to get married and have kids? And if that happens, will your spending then increase and then 3 rental properties not be enough to sustain you? I probably wouldn't pull the trigger, but if you have entrepreneurial plans, you want to chase something else, it might be a good idea to pull the firepreneur plug. So like the firepreneur, where you're basically choosing the FI entrepreneur lifestyle, as opposed to quitting a job and relying on your entrepreneurial venture for a salary. You have the rental properties to cover you, and then you're also pursuing that entrepreneurial venture. That might be a good call. But at the end of the day, it's your own call, and I don't want to be held liable if you make the wrong decision. So take the time to think through the decision really well. Map it out on paper. Say, what are the pros and cons of doing it? When I quit my job, I remember a couple years ago when I quit, I made a list in late 2016 of all of the ways I could survive, like ways I could house hack, or like worst case scenario I could just get a tiny house and live in that. And I made all these worst case scenarios, how I would react. I would just get a part-time job and I'd be okay. And so then that helped me rationalize and get the courage to quit. Thanks for the tip about emailing Chuck. I'll most definitely come into that class. Yeah, I'll definitely see you there. They filmed it last time, so I wonder if they're gonna do a video this time. I'm hoping maybe some interactive content, so we'll see. How many house purchases a year is good on average? Hulk Hogan, WWF. How many is good is based on your personal goals. Maybe you want to buy 1 property a year, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. Depends where you are on your journey. When I was first starting, 1 property a year would be amazing. I went from 19 till 22. It took me 3 years before I could buy my next property. And then, I bought 1 property when I was 22, and then a couple more when I was 23. And it accelerated. And now I would say 1 property a week is impressive, given my background and where I'm at. 1 property a year would be I wouldn't even be trying. That'd be me close my eyes. But if you ask 22-year-old me, then I would say that that's extremely impressive. So it depends on your stage, where you're at. It's a tough question to answer. Depends where your goals are, what you've done, what your history is, how much wealth you have, all of these factors. Mike, I feel like you followed your passion after work. If you had pursued iBanking or worked for Tim Hortons as a junior exec, do you think you'd be as far along? Thanks. William, so I did choose the corporate route, right? I actually did go and work in a job that I didn't enjoy, doing stuff that wasn't valuable, I thought, to the world. And so that motivated me in a lot of ways because I wanted to get out of that. If I had maybe found something that I really loved, that was my calling, didn't feel like work, yeah, I probably wouldn't have went into real estate. I probably would have kept pursuing that career. I have always been, because of my background, you guys will hear in this video coming out in a couple weeks, what I went through growing up. I don't think it'd be possible for me not to put at least half of what I have away for the future, because I didn't want to end up in the same situation I was when I grew up. So for me, it's very deep-seated in emotion, and just I would have always respected FIRE, I think, and been very, very frugal and focused on personal finance. But you're right, I may not have retired if I had a job that I loved. Real estate isn't even something I really love. I love aspects of real estate. There are parts of it that are enjoyable. The renovations, most of that is not enjoyable. The fun is in designing the place. That's it. The fun is in buying the property. That's it. The fun is in maybe talking to some investors. That's fun for a while, but it all starts to feel like work after a while. And I want to get to a point where I've built this business up where there's people running pretty much everything for me. And so that was the idea in building this. I've made a promise to my business partner that I would stick with him, even though I may want to retire. I'm in a mood right now where I would actually like to just retire and do some social media and teach people, and then game and watch TV and just relax and travel. There's tons of traveling I'd like to do. I got to go to, I guess, Vegas, LA, and Miami. So those are the only 3 trips that I've been on in the last 6 months. And I would like to have gone to Florida and Costa Rica. I just didn't have the time. I'm doing too much. So I haven't yet found something that I'd like to do for my entire life. There's no job that I think I would enjoy doing for the rest of my life. I think I'm the type of person who's going to get bored of whatever I'm doing. And so financial independence is so alluring because I don't have to be on one path. I can just take time off. And I can grind again, pick up a new business and build it up, and then I can do something else. I like to pivot, and I like to focus on different areas of my life and my business, and that's just who I am. So I don't know if my personality lends itself well to working in a job for my entire life. I don't think it would have worked out. And that's okay. Everyone has their own play. I found your channel because I was thinking of starting my own and wanted to see if there was already something similar to what I wanted to start, connecting personal finance to smart investing. Oh yeah, so that's a lot of what I talk about on the channel. Yeah, basically. You're welcome maybe to, maybe we'll do a video or something. If you have something fresh to add, maybe we can do a collaboration video or something. Are there any online courses you would recommend taking that are relatively cheap? I don't know. I don't think there are any courses that I recommend. No, I have no course that I can think of that I would recommend right now that's cheap. I don't buy courses, guys. I go network with people and learn their strategies. I'm good at pulling out information that's important really quickly and then emulating that and taking that. So if someone has a course on X or Y, I'll learn the key things from that course and sort of take it away for free by networking or watching it all. It's all online for free. There is nothing out there that isn't already online. They just package it up really nice, put a bow on it. So right now I can't recommend any courses. There are a lot of great books. They're low cost. You can download them for free online, listen to the audiobook for like nothing, or get Audible. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that. D's information says, good answer for my self-employment tax question. No problem. Happy to help. Jake says, Mike, all American content I see, love the depreciation aspect of real estate. Do you claim capital cost allowance for your properties and take advantage of this tax deduction? So Jake, yes and no. So the capital cost allowance, CCA calculation, can be useful if you're in a high tax bracket now and you won't be later. Because when you sell the property, you have to recapture all of that and pay the capital gains tax on it. If you're gonna have a property for a long time, yes, that's a huge advantage. You want to depreciate that building each and every year and get that additional write-off. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, definitely. It's great. It's a huge, one of the many advantages in real estate that you get some tax advantages. Often what people make on the rental properties is not what they claim on their T776s. They often have operating losses when there's small gains and stuff like that. So there are tax advantages for sure in all small business. There's tons of additional write-offs people kind of cram in there. And yeah, there are advantages. Definitely tax advantages to being an entrepreneur. Crypto Cheese says, great content, Mike. Shout out from New Brunswick. One last question. The 20% down rule beneficial because when you go to refinance, you have more equity to pull out? Does CMHC really rob us? Yes, it really robs you. If you put 5% down, the CMHC fee is like 4%. So you lose almost your entire down payment. But what makes it worse is that 4% fee is compounded against the mortgage. They lend that to you against the mortgage. So that's you're paying like 4% or 3% or whatever your interest rate is on that CMHC fee. So CMHC is a dirty, evil corporation. In the United States, when you refinance, the CMHC fee is monthly. It's not upfront. Like in Canada, it's an upfront fee right away that is then amortized, right? They put it against your mortgage. And so the bank lends you the fee upfront that they pay to CMHC. That's bad because in the US, it's just a monthly fee. As soon as you get to 20% equity in the property, the fee's gone. You refinance it, fee's gone. You pay it down to 80% loan to value, fee's gone. In Canada, that fee is permanent. If your property goes up in value, if you have mortgage pay down from owning it for a while, if you renovate the property and add value, if anything happens so that you end up with 20% equity in the property, you're still paying that CMHC fee effectively because you paid it all up front. If you flip a property, if you sell the property within 5 years, it's a huge loss. So you have to, for CMHC to make sense, you have to hold the property forever. And the only time it makes sense is if the market was flat and your CMHC, you were never planning to sell. By the way, if you do a CMHC deal, you don't want to ever sell. And there's no appeal to refinance. So if you don't want to refinance, because you can't refinance 95% loan to value, you can only refinance 80% loan to value. And as soon as you do refinance on a CMHC property, you've lost all the benefit of being 5% down. So I would always argue, go borrow the money from a hard money lender, paid up the nose at 15% interest or 20% interest, some crazy amount. It's still cheaper to borrow the additional 15% to go 20% down from a hard money lender than it is to pay the CMHC fee. They rob you blind. That's my rant on CMHC. 6+ units in commercial, right? Does that mean I'm going to live in the residence hack to get 20% instead of 25%? Yeah, so 6+ units is commercial. BMO, TD, the smaller, a lot of banks think that below 4 is residential and above 4 units, so like 5 units, 6 units is commercial. RBC and Desjardins are the exception. RBC does 6+ units. Desjardins will go up to a 7-plex actually with residential mortgage rates. So that's interesting. They'll put a residential mortgage on a 6-plex. So it depends on the bank you're working with. RBC will go up to a 6-plex as residential. Every other bank is 4-plex. So they would consider commercial being a 5-plex or 6-plex. What was the other part of the question? I lost my space. He said, does that something I'm going to live in the residence hack to get? Yeah, so you could say you're living in a 5-plex to get less down. Yeah, you could do that. You could even buy a 6-plex 5% down with RBC, theoretically, using CMHC financing, which would rape you because the CMHC fees are bad. I would argue just go 20% down to avoid CMHC. That's the reason to go with 20% down. How do you find bird dogs? So they're bird dogs is what they call it, a bird dog. But yeah, a bird dog is just someone who's basically a simple wholesaler. Guys who don't have the complexity or the understanding of how to write a contract up. They're just good at generating a lead. So a bird dogger is just someone who's bird dogging you a lead. They go online, they SEO optimize, they get people coming into them saying, hey, I want to sell my house. They just send the leads off. And they sell the leads at a fixed price, or they sell them at, if you close on this property, it's worth, pay me $1,000 fee or something to that effect. So that's basically what they do. They go in, they screen the lead, they make sure they're qualified. Maybe they go to the property and check it out, depending on the level of bird dog. Okay, how feasible would you say managing property remotely is? I'm trying to stack my wallet like a NASA's queue, but I live in Toronto. Jordan, I love that. I love that League of Legends reference. Gotta stack that queue. I go for 500 queue stacks, 300 for 12 minutes, and what is it, like 500 for 20 minutes? Yeah, so it is difficult to manage properties from abroad. You need someone on the ground. So if you're gonna buy in a place like London or wherever it's not your local city, you need to find trades or property managers on the ground. You need someone on the ground. It's too hard for you to go manage everything yourself. But if you have the right team of people, the right trades that you can call and have backups, it's totally doable. Especially today, like technology is getting to the point where you can pretty much generate at least leads online. I've even rented units out. Believe it or not, I just rented one of my units out to a dentist for using a video. I did a video walkthrough of the unit, sent it to them, they signed the lease without ever seeing the property. So we're getting to a point now where you don't have to show properties sometimes if they're really nice. Like my property's in a great location. It was all brand new inside. That helps, right? Having a really good description ad and a good video. You can actually lease properties out without actually showing them. Especially people moving to the city. They're safe coming from like Vancouver to move to London. They're not going to be able to fly down here to look at rental properties. They're just going to trust whoever can give them a virtual Skype tour or video walkthrough. Okay. Frankie says, any advice on how to get your income to a place where you can start taking advantage of leverage? Yeah, so it helps to start buying properties. You can buy your first property. You buy something really small. Say you make 25 grand a year. You can still buy a really small house, like a $70,000 tiny townhouse or condo. Start with something. Have that generate some income. Get a lease on paper as you're renting it out. That'll boost your income from say 25,000 to 35,000. You have 10,000 in rental lease income coming in, and you can fudge the expenses a little bit so they're lower than they are, and then that'll help. As you buy more properties, your income increases. I was making 50 grand a year salary, but I often to the lenders look like I had 80 or 100 grand in income because of all my rental properties. So when I had my job plus my rentals, it actually helped me qualify. It got easier to qualify, especially when there's strong cash flowing properties that help service the debt and more. William says, Mike, if the government barred you from real estate, what would you have gone into early on? 8:15 bath time. Thank you for another great show. Good call. Okay, we've got to end this show really quick. I don't know why the government would have barred me from real estate. I would just invest in something else. Real estate's nice because I have control. So maybe I'd just invest in businesses or something else that I had control over. I used to day trade and stock trade, and I had some success, but I didn't like that I didn't have control. Like the financials would make sense, I do the analysis, put in all the work, and then management would fuck something up. And I would be up a creek without a paddle and have to sell for a small loss with a stop loss set up on the stock. And that was because I wasn't in control. So I like being able to bet on myself. I'm management. Whereas when you're buying public stocks, you don't get to bet on management. Just my personal, like I'm very much a perfectionist and control freak. So that is just my style of investment. I'm a control freak investor, I guess. A lot of us who are investors in real estate, we like to be in control of getting way higher returns that we can't get otherwise. Top book picks. I just recently finished The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Also, your kids sound like they're having fun. Yeah, my daughter's up there playing right now. I don't know, one of the top, Early Retirement Extreme is a great book. Millionaire Next Door is a good book. I really like that one. Can't think of any other books right now. There's some really good podcasts and stuff you can listen to. And I just like go on Instagram and I follow all these like motivational like 2-minute videos, and I'll watch like a Gary Vee video or something like that. Just get pumped up. I'm all about like short bursts. I don't have like 4 hours to sit down and read a book. Wish I did, but yeah. Wish I had better books. Check in the description of my videos. I've got a bunch of good books linked there in the description of all of my Saturday uploads. I list like 10 books that I'm kind of a fan of. Thanks for the video. Thanks, Tyler. I'm stuck playing Smite, similar to League. Cool. Dominique says, hey, I just finished college and started working. Do you have any advice on where's a good place to start putting my money to build wealth? Depends how much money you have. Yeah, I would say it's very dependent on your goals, your time horizon. You could invest in ETFs, like an all-in-one ETF, exchange traded fund. Great, because you can get it diversified on a small percentage of thousands of stocks. You get that safe 7% return. I'm a big fan of actually buying stocks like Chesswood Group. Guys that they do lending. And so you can buy into companies that lend, like manufacturing companies for machinery and stuff. And they do business lending. It's like a 6, 7, 8% return, relatively safe. Here in Canada, there's Lending Loop. Guys in my year at Ivy are the CEO and CTO who founded it, and they do really well. Their first business-to-business lending platform, you get like 10% return here in Canada, lending to other businesses. So that's a good Canadian one. They have way better ones in the United States, like Lending Tree and all those ones like that, where you can lend and get 10% return on your money. It's a great little experiment, I think. If you make sure you loan small amounts, like split your money up, don't put it all in one loan to a bunch of people, small increments. That's really important. So overall, make sure that you don't lose your money, because diversity is safety. The more diversification you have, the safer everything will be for you. Yeah, that's a good place to start. And then eventually you save up enough money, you could buy real estate or pick a different asset class that has a higher barrier to entry, like you need a lot of capital. But I'm a huge fan of ETFs. Shaylan says, I know you said to reach out on Instagram, but I don't have one. Any chance I can reach out on LinkedIn or Facebook? Yeah, Facebook. Just add me on Facebook. Type in my name, Mike Rosehart. You'll find me. Thanks, Mike, for the weekly episode. We'll watch the replay. Hey, Hugo. Good to see you on. Yeah, we're working on your rental property, too. ETFs are especially great now with M1, fractional shares, and no fees if Dominique is in the States. Very true. Very true. The fees are getting extremely low. It's killing the mutual fund industry, which is great. Makes me feel really good as an ex-financial advisor who used to have mutual funds license. I don't anymore. Yeah, so that's it. That's the show. I'm going to do bath time with my daughter and then go do some gaming and some business. I got a bunch of business paperwork to do tonight. I have to start my taxes. Oh my God, I do my own taxes. It's going to kill me this year. I've got like all the properties, the business, everything. I'm going to like spend 200 hours doing like bookkeeping and taxes. Save me from that. Unfortunately, you guys can't save me. No one can save me. All right, take care, guys. Thanks. Bye, everyone. Oh yeah, I gotta do the sign off the 150 times now. I've probably said this 1,000 times, but The secret to unlocking wealth for you is just 3 levers. Spend less, earn more, and maximize returns in that order. And then once you've built the wealth, it's all about maximizing the returns, earning more, and then spending less becomes least important. So it depends on the journey where you're at. At my stage in the game, spending less is not as important, but if you're not a multimillionaire and you're just starting out, you should be spending less. Start cutting the fat. Bye everyone. Like Rosehart, out.